Hi, Michaela, and hi, Catherine. Thanks for joining me. You were two of the finalists, and one of you was the winner, or joint winner, on last year's Therapist Throwdown. And for the benefit of those who will be taking part this year, I thought it could be really useful to hear some insights. So, how did you even hear about the Throwdown?
Um, so I believe I was in my first year of my program, and I want to say I had a professor show us the previous year's throwdown. Um, might have been that year's. During our like theories of psychotherapy class, and I just got really interested into it. And I was like, oh, that's something that's really cool. So I kind of like researched and looked at y'all's website to really learn more about it. And then I got into some deliberate practice stuff. Um, and that's really how I first heard about it.
Amazing. Did anyone else in your class think that's so cool, or was it just you're the only crazy one?
I might be the only crazy one. I think there might have been one other person who I think followed up on it too. But
Okay,
something
well,
about it just really struck me. So I wanted to learn more about it.
cool. Cool. Michaela?
Yeah, so I had actually heard about it through Sentio. One of my friends had sent me a video of like deliberate practice type stuff that Sentio had on their website. And so I was like looking around their website and then I saw the therapist throw it and I was like, oh, like this is really cool, and watched like the recording of it and was like, this is really interesting. I want to try it out. It's like seems like a good way to meet people and kind of practice skills and stuff. And so from there I signed up and yeah, here I am.
And how different this kind of, looking at these little videos and practicing, how different is it from what you had in your regular training?
Um, I think the different part is in my regular training, it's another therapist person that's the client. And then this is the videos. So I think the videos can have more like emotion of like being another person you don't know, where like if you know the therapist in your cohort or at the site you're at, it's maybe not as nerve-wracking. But when it's a video of somebody else and there's other people watching, it's a lot more nerve-wracking.
So you're saying the video with an actor, with someone you don't know, could feel closer to the real experience of meeting a client who is basically a stranger.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
obviously
exactly.
having others looking makes it adds the anxiety component.
Yeah, definitely.
Catherine, you agree with the anxiety of being looked
Yes,
at. I agree as well.
Um,
For me, it took some time to practice. Um, I was already kind of interested in just deliberate practice in general, and when I entered the competition, I was entering my first year practicum anyway, and so I wanted to just get more practice in general for therapy skills. Um, so I practiced a little bit before I sent my videos in for that first round, but then I was already kind of using deliberate practice up until the finals to just prepare and get better at therapy in general.
So you were anyway practicing. This was the opportunity to kind of have more material to work with.
Right.
Okay. And Michaela?
Yeah, I think I practiced the prompt specifically a couple times, handful of times before I turned in my actual submission. And then I kind of used it and maybe made my own prompts of like practicing, like she said, just trying different skills and trying to make sure I could hone it in because I was also starting practicum at that time. So I was like, I want to make sure I have something to work from when I start seeing clients.
Nice. So this was an opportunity to prepare for clients. The first round, in that sense, is very different from the live round, right? The first round, you got all the time in the world to look at it, to practice, to rehearse, to go through the skills. In a way, creating your own prompts and practicing different scenarios is good preparation for the live one because it'll be something new that you've never seen before.
I feel like I was like in my head thinking of like, oh, what are all the possible things it could be? But I still was not expecting the one that we got. Um, but it did kind of like having to think about or anticipate what we were gonna get did kind of make me think about like, okay, well, how would I respond differently to like if somebody presents this versus they present that? But I was still very surprised by the prompt that we got.
Yeah, I agree. I think I was also a little surprised that it was different than I was expecting too, but I think kind of going into it being a live one, I was like, just try to focus on what they say and come up with a natural response for yourself. Because it's to prepare for clients, right? And working with clients. So it's like talking to another person, something that we do every day, trying to kind of like take away the scary part of it being live and not knowing and kind of all of that came into it.
And in a way, once you practice enough, ideally with a client, you wouldn't want to kind of be thinking too much. You want to respond naturally and kind of lean back on the practice you've done already.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually remember, Catherine, I know you weren't the winner, but you were, I think, the first one to respond in the final. And I was really impressed because it was a very, very difficult video. Mm-hmm. Can you see it?
Yeah.
So these were the skill criteria which you'd received before, right? And you had practiced.
Mm-hmm.
This is uncomfortable to ask, but are you interested in me romantically? Last week when I told you about that random guy that I met at a bar, he just asked me a lot of questions about my dating history. Are you interested in me like that?
Watching it again, what does it feel like?
I think I agree.
You're smiling.
I agree with what you said. I think Alex was being mean. That one. Because even watching it now, I'm like, yeah, this was a very hard prompt to respond to.
Yeah, I mean, even just the idea that it's like some kind of weird romantic misunderstanding, and then having to respond with everyone watching you creates an added layer of awkwardness to it.
Yeah. I feel like watching it now too, it seems a little less scary than it did the first time seeing it. And I think it's like you said, like not having like all those kind of eyes on you, like we did that first time we saw it. I think for me, just getting the feedback from the judges was really helpful. And kind of getting that like immediate real-time feedback, because I know a lot of times like you have supervision, but like you don't get feedback maybe directly after you've done something with the client, or directly after you've given just a response to a client. So I really appreciated being able to get the judges' feedback on how to make my response more appropriate for that type of prompt.
Okay, so an opportunity to get quality feedback from the judges.
Yeah, I agree. I think the feedback was really helpful to have like kind of immediately after. I think also like the nerves of like doing it in front of a bunch of people made it like in session a lot easier, because it's maybe two other people, if not most of the time just one other person that's there. So it's like if I can do it in front of a crowd, I can do it in a one-on-one session. So I think it made it less nerve-wracking when working with clients.
Yeah, I think after going live, everything else becomes a piece of cake.
Yeah.
I think a tip I would give is really just engaging in the process of deliberate practice as much as you can. Like I know it's a competition, but like I would say don't really worry about the competition part. Just focus on doing deliberate practice and kind of engaging in that process, because regardless of if you do well in the competition or not, like doing the practice will make you a better clinician, a better therapist. So that's at the end of the day, that's really important too, regardless of like what the outcome of the competition is.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I agree with her. It really is just to help you become a better clinician for your clients in the future. So I think remembering that, and also remembering like to manage your own nerves and anxiety, like you're surrounded by most of the time a lot of mental health professionals, and so nobody's going to really harshly judge you. You're probably your biggest critic, and just see it as a practice and an opportunity to improve your skills to help your clients in the future.
Deliberate practice is new, and you participated in the second ever therapist throwdown, so very few people have done it before. So really kind of putting that self-criticism aside and saying, wow, I'm doing something amazing.
A fun moment for me was when I found out that I was going to the finals. I shared it with my supervisor, and just in the sense I was like, hey, I can't take any clients at this time because I have this competition thing to do. And she like was so excited about it and wanted to like share it with everyone at my practice site. And I guess I didn't expect that type of reaction because I was like, hey, like I'm just doing this like deliberate practice thing. But that was a really fun moment. And then like a lot of the staff there like tried to like watch it when it was happening, and then was very supportive and stuff afterwards too. So that was probably my most fond memory of everything.
Yeah. For me, I think I have a funny memory and then a cool memory. I'll share the cool one first. After it was over, I went to my group supervision after like, the thing had been recorded and posted. And one of my cohort members was like, oh, my professor